Good morning. Happy Wednesday, April Fool's Day 2020. I'm going to do a general all levels flow this morning. Um, Kind of inspired by a conversation I had last night at dinner. I think a lot of us spend most of our lives either looking forward toward the future or living in the past, kind of revisiting things that we did or didn't do or would like to do differently, or looking to the future where things might get better in theory or could be worse rather than being in the present moment. And I think this whole coronavirus pandemic has been a wake up call for some of us to plan for the future, but maybe be a little more present. I know I've always been guilty of not really being in tune with what's happening right now, and yoga has helped me a lot with that. So hopefully you'll find that as well as we go through this practice this morning. We're going to start off in child's pose. And so I want you to bring your big toes together, your knees wide enough apart to support that rib cage. You could also, if you were inclined, keep the knees together and take it this way. It's just a different sensation. There's no right or wrong here. You could also take your knees wider, but for me, that tends to put my back at more risk. So I like kind of that sweet spot right in the middle. And you can have your arms extended in front of you, connecting the palms of the hands to the mat, spreading evenly through the fingers. Or you could bring the arms behind you like so, with the palms up toward the ceiling. One of my favorites is to clasp the elbows behind the back. So we're trying to connect that bone with the heels. We're trying to be as long as we possibly can. In my child's pose, my back is a little bit rounded, so I do like to have a block here. I sometimes like to put a bolster underneath my hands so that I can have a straighter spine. So once you get into the child's pose variation of your choice, just start to come to your breath. I'm going to come on up so you can hear me a little bit better. Those smooth, steady, even inhalations and exhalations in and out through your nose. Slowly scanning the body, noticing where there might be some tension or tenderness, some tightness, and just sending healing breath to that part of the body, knowing that every day is different, particularly once you hit the age of about 40 or so. So we just have to accept what is and enjoy the journey, not worry so much about the destination. And while you're here in child's pose, just maybe gently rocking that forehead a little bit left and right, massaging that third eye chakra point. That's to awaken, to stimulate your inner teacher, your all-knowing intuition. They say in yoga that if you are focused on the past, that your tendency is to be depressed. And if you're focused on the future, your tendency is to be a little bit anxious, a little bit fearful. So good advice for staying present right now, in the here and now. All right, we're going to come out of this child's pose gradually. So arms now, bring them in front of you. And then come on up to the fingertips for a moment. Keep reaching that bone toward the heels. And then walk the hands over to the right. And then notice that my right arm is bent a little bit, my left arm is a little bit straighter. I'm gonna pick up my belly, I'm gonna twist, turn, I'm gonna kind of drape it over that right thigh a little bit, extending out over that knee. If you can do this, try it, but if you can't, it's not a big deal. Resting my left cheek on my left arm. And again, I'm trying to reach my booty toward my heels. The tendency right here is for my left cheek to come up slightly, my left butt cheek, rather. So I can use this hand to kind of help me extend long and reconnect both buttocks to both heels. And then walking the hands back to the center just to reset here for a moment. And then next inhale, coming back up to those fingertips, walking the hands over to the opposite side, my left side, extending long through my right arm, connecting my right cheek to my right bicep. Left fingertips can still stay high, perhaps, as I extend long through my spine, connecting my buttocks to my heels. And then walking the hands forward again for a moment, resetting. And then pushing the palms into the floor, stacking the shoulders over the wrists, the hips over the knees, taking a few rounds of that cat-cow. So just checking that the fingers are evenly spread, and we'll drop the belly, roll the shoulders out of the ears, lift the chin, and then exhale, round the spine. And I like to get my feet in on the action by curling my toes slightly as I inhale, and then flattening the tops of my feet as I exhale. So you continue to move with the breath, moving through your cat-cow. Well, I just pull this hair out of my face. I apologize. And hopefully the lighting in here is good today. You can see. So inhaling to arch, exhaling to round. Using that breath to connect the mind with the body, letting go of what no longer serves you, leaving it all at the door. And then you're going to walk those hands back a little bit closer to the knees. You're going to curl the toes under if that's possible for you. I'm going to start on my left side this time. I'm going to take my left hand to my neck, and I'm going to open up a little bit to my left. And then on my exhalation, I'm going to take that elbow toward my right knee. And then inhale, open it up again, a little bit wider. Exhale, tap that right knee. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Let's do two more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And then reconnecting that left palm to the mat. Same thing on the other side. So right hand to the back of the neck. Open. Exhale, close. Inhale, widen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, open that heart. Exhale. Touch that knee. Two more times. Inhale. Exhale. And coming back to your tabletop position for a moment, we're going to come on down to our bellies now. And the first thing I want you to try is something called broken wing. So I'm gonna scoot over a little bit so I have a little more arm distance here on my left side, but you're gonna connect your forehead to the mat, have your hands be in a T, so straight out from the shoulders. And I'm gonna go to my right side first, all right? So I'm gonna bring my left hand right underneath my left shoulder. Forehead still connecting with the mat, right arm is extended straight out from the shoulder. And I'm gonna push my left palm into the floor to gently roll over to my right side. And then I might need a kickstand. So now my left knee bends, my left foot connects with the mat right behind the pit of my right knee, and I get a little stretch on my right shoulder. Now, this might be too much for you, so you could use this left hand to help you kind of roll a little bit closer to the mat, eliminating that kickstand, just a gentle pressure. If you've got a lot of flexibility, that left hand can come back behind you and try to touch the right hand. You can see I don't have that much flexibility. And the left hand reconnects with that mat right there by your face. You're gonna gently roll over to your belly again. Recommit that pubic bone to the mat here. Reconnect the forehead to the mat. And then now my left arm is going to go out. So I think what I'll do is I'll switch around so you can see this from this side as well. So here I am on my belly. Left arm is extended. Right hand comes right underneath that right shoulder. And then I just roll over to my left side. Now notice I've already got my right leg into a kickstand. I've got my right palm connected with the mat. And then maybe I reach my right arm back in an attempt to touch my left palm, but can't do it. I think I'm tighter on this side than the other side. And then bringing that right hand back down, coming back to the belly. I'm gonna go back to my original direction here just to keep things a little more consistent. And I'm just gonna put my left hand underneath my forehead and I'm gonna bend my right knee. I'm gonna reach back and grab hold of that right ankle, maybe the top of the foot, could be the toes, could be the inner or outer arches, wherever you can grab that foot. And then I'm gonna kind of roll a little bit more weight into my right thigh. I'm trying to open up that hip crease right there. So the left leg can be a little bit lazy here. Now I'm going to try to bring my knees closer together, my thighs closer together. And then I'm going to start to flex my right foot slightly as I begin to lift my right thigh up off the floor. So now the sole of my foot is reaching up toward that ceiling. Now my left arm reaches forward. I've got the thumb up. That's my target. Then I'm going to float my left leg behind me. So I'm trying to reach my tailbone toward the wall behind me. So pubic bone is connected to the mat. Now I can even point my foot a little bit if I want as well. And then I'm going to lower it all down. I'm going to put one hand on top of the other, recommit that pubic bone to the mat, and now I'm going to bend my knees. I'm going to wiggle waggle my shins right to left. All right, whatever we do on one side in yoga, we have to do it on the other side as well. So, recommitting the pubic bone to the mat, right back of the hand is underneath the forehead now. And I'm just gonna reach back with my left hand, catch that left foot wherever I can, keeping those thighs close together, the knees close together. I'm just feeling a nice little stretch in my quad. And then I roll a little bit of weight over to that left thigh, opening up that hip crease a little.
And then I'm going to start to flex that left foot slightly if my foot doesn't cramp up. And then reach. Yeah, my toes are cramping today. So I'm going to reach up with that foot. I'm not going to worry about flexing. And notice my head's now drifted up. I'm going to reach the right arm forward and then that left leg lifts. So fingers and toes on the right side are reaching away from one another as that left thigh is lifting up. I'm really lifting through this inner left thigh here. Again, buttocks flush, reaching toward the wall behind me. And then exhale, make that pillow, wiggle, waggle the shins. And then connecting the shins, the tops of the feet to the mat. I'm going to bring my hands right here underneath my shoulders. I'm going to draw my elbows back. Elbows are going to kind of hug that upper body. And on my inhalation, I'm just going to lift slightly. Nice long neck. Gaze is at the front edge of the mat. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift, extend. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. So the tops of my feet are connecting with the mat. My thighs are a little bit lifted. I'm trying to reach my buttocks flush toward my heels. Exhale, lower. One more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Once again, pillow with the hands, bend the knees, wiggle waggle those shins. I'm going to circle my ankles a little bit too, just because I'm a little bit tight. And then hands right by the shoulders. I'm going to come on up to my knees, back to tabletop position. And then I'm going to walk the hands forward just slightly, curl the toes under, and then lift the hips up and back for downward facing dog. So I'm going to start to pedal out the feet. Feels so good. The backs of my legs get super tight. I just walked a little while on the treadmill, and so this is my stretch. All right, and then finding a moment of stillness here, then see if you can bend that right knee deeply and reach it over toward the left side of your mat. So then you get into the side body a little here. And then coming back to down dog. And then bending the left knee deeply, reaching it over toward the right side of the mat. And you could continue doing that as well. It's like your booty is kind of buffing the wall behind you there a little bit. And then go ahead and walk the hands and feet toward one another. Now, if I had more room over here on the left side, I would do this pose in this direction. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around now. And I'm going to take my feet super wide. And I'm going to take my first Krasarita, this wide-legged forward fold. I'm going to grab my ankles. I'm going to draw the crown of my head toward the floor. I'm going to try not to let my shoulders jam my ears. I'm going to try to reach the shoulders away from the ears, drawing the tips of the shoulder blades toward one another. So I'm reaching strongly through my feet, pulling the heels apart but the thighs together. And I'm trying to keep my heels and my hips in line with one another. And then I'm going to bring the fingertips right underneath my face. I'm going to walk my hands forward. And you could heel toe the feet together. I'm going to hop my feet together just because I feel like that's kind of fun. All right, so we're going to hang out here in Uttanasana for a moment. So the first thing we're going to do, though, is I'm going to turn back around. I'm going to make my mountain pose for a moment. And then I'll inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Uttanasana. Now, the first Uttanasana that you take, so the feet are a little bit closer together, you may not be able to touch the floor with your fingers or get the belly close to the thighs or the forehead close to the shins. No big deal. You can bend the knees a little. You could grab the elbows here. You could nod the head, gently shake the head, reclasp the elbows, maybe take the elbows from the outside of one foot to the outside of the other. And then maybe gradually you can begin to straighten those legs a bit. Now, if you have tight hamstrings, you might have low back issues. So just work into it. There's no judgment. Just don't hurt yourself. That's all I ask. So listen to your body. Back off if something doesn't feel right. Now, what I like to do in my Uttanasana here is I like to bend my knees deeply. My belly's on my thighs. Then I can grab the elbows behind the pits of my knees, and then I can start to straighten and bend, straighten and bend. So it's like I'm pulling my inner thighs apart slightly because I don't want this rubber band here to hit the floor. So what would you have to do to stop that rubber band from slipping down? I can hear my knee making lots of noise. Hopefully you can't. And then releasing that, fingertips to the floor. I'm going to bend my left knee, have my left fingertips be on the floor here. My right leg's going to be straight. Right hand comes to the hip. I'm just going to gently twist over to my right. And then I could reach up with this right arm, trying to stack the shoulders as best I can. I could circle the arm if my shoulder needs a little more loosening up, or I could take it over my low back and reach around to the top of my left hip or my left thigh. And then once that's there, I could use that to kind of open my chest a little bit more. Breathe. Smile. Be here on your mat with me now. And then releasing that right hand, straightening the legs for a moment. And then bending the right knee. Right fingertips on the floor, could be on a block. Totally fine to do that. And then left hand comes to my left hip. I'm going to twist open to the wall here. I'm going to reach up with that left arm. Circle the arm. Moving slowly like I'm moving through water or mud. And then that left arm can come over my low back. Reach around with the top of that right hip. Use that to open the heart a little bit more. And then I'll exhale, take the fingertips back down to the floor. Inhale, walk the fingertips up the shins and roll the shoulders out of the ears as you make that L shape with your body. So zippering up the belly, neck nice and long. And then exhale, fold. Let's inhale, reverse the swan dive as you come up. Now staying here, you're going to go ahead and come to the balls of your feet, lifting the heels, pressing the thighs back, arms reaching up to the sky as you balance. And exhale, lower. Let's do it again. Hands are the heart center for a moment. Finding your breath, finding your drishti, that focal point, something that's not moving just across the room from you at the horizon level or higher. Let's inhale, circle the arms all the way up. And then push into the ball of the foot, spread evenly across the ball of the foot as you lift your heels. Thighs push back, belly button zippers up, tailbone reaches down toward the earth. Collarbones are broad and smiling. And then exhale, lower. I've got all kinds of cramps in my feet and calves today, so this balancing thing is challenging. I apologize if I'm shaking. It does mean that I'm working though, which is a good thing. I'm human,
Let's inhale, take those arms back up again, and then push into the ball of the foot, spread evenly, reach, extend, and then exhale, lower, and then bring the hands to the heart center. All right. So I'm going to open up these hips for just a moment because we're going to move into triangle in just a second. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my hands to my hips. I'm going to lift my right knee up. And I'm going to find that drishti again, and I'll circle my knee out and around. Can you hear my hip pop? And then next time that knee is in front of me, I'm going to just start to reverse the circles. And then foot comes back in. And then again, rooting into the right foot, lifting that left knee, finding my drishti, and then opening that knee, opening that hip. So this is a balance and a hip opener at the same time. But we've got this little bit of motion here, which kind of upsets the balance. So staying focused on your drishti and working to achieve smooth, steady, even breath will help you stay in the moment. One more circle around, and then here we go. Now I've got 2 blocks. You may not have any props at home, but if you do, grab them. I'm going to put a tall block on either side of me here. I'm going to scoot this mat back just a little bit, and I'm going to take my legs nice and wide. Now, everybody has their own comfort level, but typical good alignment in the standing postures in yoga is that when you extend your arms long, the wrists are kind of right over those ankle bones. You may not feel ready for that yet. And I have really long arms, so I'm lucky that way. Not everybody has that kind of span, wingspan rather. So I'm going to go ahead now and just check that my toes are pointing forward. I'm reaching evenly through all 4 corners of my feet. I'm zippering up that belly. My tailbone's reaching down toward the earth. I'm broad across the collarbones and my chin is parallel to the floor. I'm going to bend that left knee slightly and turn the leg out. So now my toes are pointing toward that wall. And when I turn my leg out like that, my whole body really wants to follow it, but don't let it. Keep your hands right here. Now I'm going to angle those back toes in slightly. I'm trying to keep my pelvis right at the top of that triangle. I'm reaching strongly through the outer edge of that back foot. Now, I'm going to take my arms out to the sides. And then I'm going to start to reach. I could have this hand be on my hip for now. And then I'm just going to look down, make sure my weight is anchored in that left big toe. And then I'll keep reaching, extending, length here. My block, I'm going to squeeze it toward my left ankle bone, resting that palm on that block, and then I'll push my palm into that block, recommit into this bottom leg. So I'm shrugging up through the leg, and then my right arm can come right on top of my left arm. So I've got a lot of triangle action going on here. There's a triangle here, there's a triangle here. Then I could turn my head and look up at that top thumb, or I could look toward the screen. Don't look down though, because it'll make your chest kind of round and you'll collapse. You'll lose this beautiful triangle shape. Utthita Trikonasana. Anything with Utthita usually means kind of extreme or intense. Now, if you wanted a little core work here, you could take beach ball arms, which is kind of nice. But make sure that you work to open that chest toward me. Breathe. And then inhale and exhale, parallel the feet, hands to the hips. I'm gonna move that block out of the way. And then I'm gonna turn my right foot out. My left foot angles in, shoulders over hips for starting. Ribs are perpendicular to the floor. Arms extend nice and long. Shoulders aren't jamming the ears. Now, reach, 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 reach. You can take that back hand to the hip if you'd like. Go ahead and just look down for a moment. Make sure you can grab that block, bring it in by that right ankle bone. And then once you've got it there, rest the palm on the block and then straighten up that right leg. Look down, make sure that you're anchored in that big toe joint, and then open your chest toward me, and then reach that arm up. You could gaze up at that left thumb. Try not to put too much weight on this bottom hand. Push gently into the block, so that root and rebound motion, just like with your foot. And then if you want a little more here, beach ball arms. Wasn't there that old movie with Annette Funicello, Beach Blanket Bingo? I always think of that when I say this. And then inhale and exhale. What a nice opening pose there. All right, we're going to turn that left foot out, back toes angle in, arms extend. Now, bending the left knee. So notice I can flop into it, and I'm going to use that back leg as kind of a break. So I ease in to my warrior two. Now, if your knee is way out of your toes like mine, go ahead and straighten out that leg, scoot the foot out a little bit more, and then rebend. So what we look for in warrior two is the knee over the ankle to protect that knee. So stacking the joints. And then a lot of times when that knee is bent, the body tends to pitch out over that leg. Bring it back so that the shoulders are over the hips. Breathe. Gazing out over that front middle finger, Virabhadrasana 2. Warrior 2. Go ahead and roll those palms open to the ceiling. Notice how that kind of opens the chest here. And then holding on to that sense of openness and ease, roll the palms back down. Thumbs in line with the fingers, contain your energy. Then roll that left palm open. Right arm can reach down that right leg. Take that left arm up to the sky, but don't lose the bend in the left knee. If you want, you could take this right hand around that low back and touch that left thigh for a little bind. And then back to warrior two. Let's inhale, straighten that left leg, and exhale, hands to the hips as you parallel the feet. All right, we're going to turn the right leg out now. This is my bad hip, so bear with me as I move a little more slowly. Left toes turn in, and then notice I kind of turn. So once again, I'm going to line up my shoulders and my hips, and I'll reach my arms out, and then bend my right knee, moving slowly. There's no rush. I'm going to scoot my foot out a little bit more, open up deeply, gazing out over that front middle finger. Right buttock is firmed underneath me. It's in line with my right knee. I'm reaching strongly through the outer edge of my left foot. I'm not collapsing that left inner arch down toward the floor. And then right hand opens up toward the ceiling. Left hand comes back to connect with that left leg. Reaching up, reversing my warrior. Maybe I take a bind over here too. We want to even ourselves out wherever we can. And then warrior two again. And then inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, parallel the feet. All right, so we're going to take warrior one, which has always been a problem pose for me. It could be my feet, could be my back. I'm not sure why, but a lot of people really love Vera one. They feel more stable in it than they do crescent lunge. But I tend to like crescent lunges better. So bear with me on this. So let's start at the top of our mat here for our Vera one. So we'll be in mountain pose. I'm going to bring my hands to my hips. I'm going to start on my left side today. So I'm going to bend both knees slightly. I'm going to step back with that left foot. Woo, lost my balance there. All right, so I'm going to try to keep my right knee over my right ankle. I'm going to scooch that left foot back a little, and I'm going to angle in the toes. So you want your right knee bent, but when we bend that knee, we do tend to open up this way a little bit. Keep reaching through the outer edge of your left foot. So think about this inner left thigh rolling out around. And then you could take your arms up. I'm drawing back through my right hip crease as best as I can. And then I could take my left arm forward just to pull that left hip bone forward a little bit more. I could take my left arm up, my right arm down, reach them away from one another. That's always fun. I could reach up with my right hand and grab my left wrist and gently arc over to the right for a little twisting action, but watch your balance here. I'm already wobbly. And then bring the hands back down by the hips. Come to the ball of the left foot, bend both knees slightly, and then step it forward. I like to kind of drag my foot so I connect with the mat a little bit. So it's a personal preference. You can decide what you want to do. I'm going to come over to this other side for the other side of Vera one. So here I am again, standing at the top of my mat, hands on the hips. I'm going to bend my knees a little bit. I'll step back with that right foot this time. And I might work it back a little bit more to where I feel comfortable. And then I'll seal that right foot down. Now I'm going to move my left foot over to the left just a little bit so I've got a little more ease in my hips, a little more ease in my back. And then I'm going to connect that outer edge of my right foot to the mat. I'm going to try to keep that front knee in line with my second or third toe there. And then the arms reach up. I'm going to try to zipper the belly, try to take the tailbone down toward the earth, and I'm going to try not to clench my booty too much. I usually do that in this pose. So again, I'm going to try to think about taking that inner right thigh around. Breathe here. Right arm can reach forward. Notice that nice little tug on the right hip. You can do that little thing with your arms again. Reaching up with the right arm, down with the left. And then hands come to the hips, come to the ball of your right foot, bend both knees slightly, and then step that foot forward. All right, good. We're going to come on down to the mat. And we're going to take a little twist, a bridge and a twist. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to be on my tushy. I'm going to reach my arms forward. I'm going to slowly start to come down. I'm going to walk those feet in a little closer to my bum. I can touch my heels, but not everybody can do that. I'm going to bring this block. I'm going to put it between my knees, between my thighs. That's going to keep me honest in this pose. It's going to keep me from clenching my butt so much and work more in other areas of my body.
All right, so I'm gonna hold my mat first of all, snuggle the shoulder blades underneath me, and then on my inhalation, I'm gonna push my balls of my feet into the floor and lift my pelvis up. Now try not to turn your head in this pose. It can wreck your neck. So try to keep your chin in line with that notch between your collarbones. Reaching the buttocks flush toward the pits of the knees, squeezing that block. And then slowly scooping the belly and lowering the sacrum back down to the mat. All right, now we're going to do that again. So inhaling, pushing the ball of the foot into the mat as you lift the pelvis up. Snuggling the shoulder blades underneath you a little bit more to open that chest. Now I'm going to bring my hands underneath my buttocks and open up a little bit more. Still squeezing the block. Trying to reach the tailbone toward the pits of the knees. No strain in my neck. And releasing that. Palms are now flat on the mat beside me as I scoop the belly and lower down. Keep your block handy. We might come back to this. I'm going to just put it to the side for a moment. I'm going to hug my knees into my chest. Give myself a little hug, maybe rocking a little left and right. Massaging that lower back. And then keep the left knee hugging, but extend that right leg out along the mat. I like to drag my right heel along the mat. Just to remind myself to try to get my leg as close to the floor as possible without locking out that knee. So right foot is flexed, left foot can be a little bit lazy here. But try to reach your left buttock down toward that front edge of your mat. This is Ekapada Uttanasana. It's really great if you've got digestive issues like heartburn or that always helps me with my low back and heartburn. And then bring that right knee in, extend that left leg out, drive the heel along the mat perhaps. Toes point up toward the ceiling or even back toward your left shin. Try to reach that right buttock toward that front edge of the mat. And then bringing those knees back in for a moment. And then gently rolling over to the side and pushing yourself up. I am going to sit on my shins, on my knees. Now this may not feel comfortable for you, so you may want to adjust. So here's the block. You could put it between your heels and those ankles could kind of hug that block and you could sit back on that. One block may not be enough, so you might need to get another one. If you've got a blanket or a bolster, that can work too. I don't particularly care for a block myself, so I'm going to move it out to the side. All right, arms are going to come out to the sides. You're going to reach forward and cross. For me, it's my right elbow over my left elbow. I'm going to bring the backs of my hands together here, and then I might take that double wrap. If this is too much for you, cross the elbows and give yourself a little hug. Maybe walk the hands around gently
twist it a little bit left and right. But for those of you who want to take the single wrap or the double wrap, begin to lift the elbows up slightly, chin, lip, or nose level. And then you could take those arms forward toward me just a bit. Try to sit up tall, keeping the shoulders stacked over the hips. And then unwind, give the arms a little shake. And then we'll do it on the other side. So arms come back out to the side. You're gonna cross the left elbow over the right elbow, or give yourself a hug. Single wrap, double wrap, lifting the elbows up. Taking the forearms forward, trying to keep the shoulders over the hips. Belly button zippered up, tailbone reaching down toward the earth. And then releasing that. Now coming to a crisscross applesauce. So just crossing those shins in front of you. Knees over ankles or heels, sitting up tall if you can. Just taking that right hand to that left knee, taking the left hand behind you, and using that as leverage to kind of open the chest over to the left, rolling the shoulders out of the ears, sitting up tall. Breathing here. Inhaling, facing the front. And let's take that left hand across the body, connecting with that right knee, right thigh. And then right hand can come behind you. Use those arms, those hands to help you open as you twist to the right. And then inhale, face forward. Let's come down to our backs for a moment here as well. Have the feet be flat, knees over the ankle bones, and just cross that right ankle over the left thigh. You can hug that left knee in toward the left shoulder. Use that right elbow to push that right thigh away slightly. Keep your right foot flexed. And before moving over to the other side, we're going to connect the soles of the feet here. Reach through, cut the ankles, the heels, the toes, whatever you can reach. And then draw those heels in a little bit closer to the belly button, but use the elbows to kind of push against the thighs. So the knees open out wide. Keep that pelvis resting on the mat. So crown of the head through the tailbone resting on the mat. Supta Baddha Konasana, that bound angle pose. And then we're going to set that right foot down. We're going to cross the left ankle over the right knee. Keep your left foot flexed. And then when you're ready, just hugging that right knee in toward the right shoulder, pushing the left thigh gently with your left elbow. And then setting those feet down again, we're going to put the outer edges of the feet to the outer edges of the mat. And you can have your arms be cactus arms, goldpost arms, whatever works best for you. You're going to take those knees over to the right. And if you don't have a lot of flexibility in your hips or your knees here, you can just windshield wiper the knees right and left. But if you want a little more of a hip flexor stretch, you can keep those knees over to the right for now. And then pick up that right ankle and drape it outside that left thigh. And then the weight of that right ankle kind of draws the left knee down toward the floor a little bit. You get this yummy little stretch in this left hip flexor. Then you can take your left arm out to a diagonal and have the palm face up over the ceiling. You just turn your head to look over at that left palm. So you've got a little twisting element here as well. And then unwinding that, connecting the outer edges of the feet with the outer edges of the mat, and taking the knees now over to the left, and picking up that left ankle, draping outside that right thigh. And then the right arm can go out to a diagonal. You can turn to look over at your right palm, melting into the floor here. Now, if this is too much, back off. No need to prove anything to anyone. And then unwinding that. I like to tell people that your yoga mat is kind of like Vegas. Whatever happens here stays here. Just think of it as your little experimental laboratory. So you might try that pose, and maybe it doesn't work the first time, first 10 times, however many times, but one day it might work for you. So don't give up. Just keep trying, but if it doesn't work, try something else. It's called practice for a reason. So I'm just gonna bring the outer edges of my feet now to the outer edges of the mat and let my knees knock together. Now, notice my feet aren't way out here because it's gonna put a little strain in my low back. I'm gonna walk my feet in a little bit. And then I can have my arms out at my sides with the palms rolled up to the ceiling. I'm gonna snuggle my shoulder blades underneath me a little. Trying to relax deeply into Shavasana. Filling up the lungs, the belly, from top to bottom, side to side, front to back. Eyes closed will help you go inside a little more readily. If you're having trouble with that, you can always take your left hand to your heart, your right hand to your belly. There's something about touch that helps you connect with your breath, helps you to go inside. While you're in Shavasana, I'm just going to do a quick reading. It's called Choose Your Part, then written by John Mandal. So you just stay in your Shavasana and enjoy. It's from a book called Soul to Soul, Poems, Prayers, and Stories to End a Yoga Class. One of my all-time favorite books. If you look at this thing, it's been through a lot. When the lights in the theater go down and the curtain goes up and the play begins, it cannot be stopped by me. Only the director can do that, but I can choose my part. What will it be? A comedy? A tragedy? A mystery? A fantasy? A pleasure cruise? A competition? A search for the truth? A boring experience? A jail? An adventure? A playground? A chance to change? A search for love? A bank account? I get to choose, but I must choose, or the play will play me. Choose your part then. Don't wait. There's no sick leave, and there's no rewind. With your next inhalation, begin to bring the soles of the feet together. I'm just going to kind of model this a little bit here. So you're going to rub those feet together. Rub, 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 rub. Then bring the palms together. Rub, 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 rub. Just creating a little heat and friction. And then hug those knees in. Make your way over to your right side if you're not pregnant. And then staying there in that seed position for a moment with the eyes closed. And then pushing yourself up. Crossing the shins. Bring the hands to the heart center. Bowing the chin toward the chest. Just take a moment to take inventory. Thanking your body for all the wonderful things it does for you. Being grateful for the practice of yoga. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. Om. Peace. Peace. Thank you. Namaste.